Gasoline.
Shotgun it in the chest and parry the drill. It just kind of dies.
Oh shit. See, I'm learning tech.
Oh shit! Wait. What the fuck?
What?
Hold on.
Is Fraud out?
And they just said
This doesn't
fraud
look like
now.
Ultrakill
Stand
Fraud.
by for launch. Holy shit!
Oh
Oh my god.
This is real. This is real. You can check his
Don't
Twitter.
edge me like this. Hold
No,
on.
this is real. I swear to God, this is real.
Say it. Where does
Show
it say it?
link.
Weird.
Show link.
Wait,
show link.
I sent it. Voice text. It's real. I sent it in voice text. It's fucking real. It's real. It's real. Yeah. So anyway, Fraud gave me a seizure. I want my money back, Hakita. Oh man, how hyped up this layer was. And with that hype obviously came a lot of expectations. Expectations that, as I'm sure someone is already typing in the comments, it surpassed. Kinda. You see, whilst it is a technical marvel, there's more to Fraud than just that. It has layers. Pun intended. I'm so fucking sorry for that one. I want this video to mainly serve as an analysis of this layer, an analysis of what it does great, and where it stumbles. Also, this is my opinion. Big warning, all of this is subjective, you don't have to agree. I will be comparing each level in this layer to its counterparts in violence as well. So, what better place to start from than the 8 Circle's first mission, Heartbreak Wonderland. It's a level that starts off quite calm, a welcome choice given that what preceded it was the Earth Mover, before quickly introducing us to this layer's main quirk, non-Euclidean spaces. I'll get into this specifically a bit later, but I loved how it gets introduced here. Having to walk through the TV gives you a pretty good idea as to what you'll be dealing with down here. Also, damn, I love the look of this place. It gives off a very warm vibe, quite the contrast given everything that's going on. We don't get to enjoy the vibe for long, however, before we meet our first new enemy of the layer, the Providence. Finally, a new angel enemy in Ultrakill. Only took like, what, 4 layers? And I gotta say, I really like these guys. Their whole gimmick is that they use projectiles with lasers that you cannot dash through, and that makes them an interesting challenge to adapt to, but what I think is really cool about them is that they leave this hook point behind after death that you can use to cause an explosion and heal yourself. It can only be used once, but in large encounters, it's really helpful. I love this mechanic, it's a really cool feature. It makes them less annoying and more rewarding to fight. Either way, we eventually get past them, and after traversing these looping hotel-like hallways, we get our first big lore drop, and it's just straight up all the archangels. Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, the warrior, the devil from the Bible, and Philza Minecraft. Now, this is Fraud, so I guess we have to take this reveal with just a touch of salt, but wow, these guys look cool. It's unfortunate we probably won't see them in the main game though, but I've also heard theories that they might appear in the encores, which would be neat. So after Hakita decides to pull a Weezer on us again, it's time to go into the basement and find a statue? Weird. I wonder for who it could be though. Maybe Lucifer. Well, I certainly wasn't expecting that reveal. I mean, damn. Again, it's Fraud, but wow. This ended really short. That's not the exit, is it? Or is it? Oh. No, it isn't! I knew it! Damn right it isn't, and also, what the hell was that? Alright, so now Fraud finally gets into the open air, and you kind of instantly get hit with one major issue with this layer. Now, as of writing, a hotfix has been dropped to fix it, and whilst I will be mostly reviewing that version of the update, goddamn, on release this shit was so fucking laggy, it was basically unplayable. Not just for this level, but for the next 2 as well. Quite the painful experience, if I'm being honest. Either way, not much to say about this part of the level. It looks awesome, the cityscape is great, and we see the devs having an absolute field day messing with Fraud's new features. But that's about all I can say. The final encounter here is pretty great though. An incredibly good use of the new mechanics, even if on first try I didn't even notice them personally. Still, it's a great conclusion to a great level, and an amazing start to the layer so far. I think it's quite easily on par with 7-1. Let's see if Hakita and the rest of the team can keep it up. 8-2 as a level is squeezed between Fraud's first and, the big one. This will probably make it easy to gloss over, an unfortunate circumstance given that it's a really good level. Through the Mirror's quirk is obvious from its title. There are 2 separate versions of this level that we transfer through via mirrors and also water. Is that a theater? Oh well, I'm sure that's not foreshadowing. At the start, we have to look through this office complex for a blue skull. Nothing really stands out apart from some small machine lore and, oh look, it's you! And here's a book that gives us a good idea of what this layer is a recreation of. It's what the world of humanity looked like in the aftermath of its near extinction during the final war. If you don't know what that means, learn about Ultrakill lore. I don't have time to explain all this shit. It was probably a time of newfound peace and hope for mankind, but given that, well, they're extinct now and that this new piece is specifically recreated in Fraud of all layers, I doubt it ended well. Why do I suddenly feel like I'm about to get molested? Hey, and welcome to the real 8-2. Gravity is now optional. The walls are floors, plus Hellchan has made a little something just for you. The Death Catcher does what it sounds like it does. It respawns enemies, and as I've heard from verified sources, is the worst thing in the game. I am verified sources, by the way. No, but really, this thing is painful, and this is probably one of its lighter encounters. It gets so much worse. Its little defensive cage finally goes down after there are no more enemies to revive, and shattering it kills the revived ones as well, allowing us to get past it and go to a fucking island. Okay, sure. There's also like a really cool secret fight here, but if I got into every little detail in this layer, we'd be here for hours. Either way, now that we're in Target, I think it's a good time I actually talk about how all of Fraud's crazy geometry works. Portals, basically. Now, obviously, this makes for some crazy cool environments, but its effects on fights are a little bit more complicated. Now, I'm not a game designer, so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but you'd probably want these to affect the way you think about killing the various threats in an encounter. Unfortunately, that's not really how they're always used. Take this little short fight here, for instance. It takes place in this infinitely looping supermarket, and yet it doesn't really change the way you would go about this fight if there were simply just walls here. The enemies are basically in a straight line, and that means there's fairly little this infinite hallway actually adds to the combat. Now, the devs may have just wanted to have it like this, and that's fine, flavor is cool, but it is a little bit of a disappointing use. Thankfully, the vast majority of fights use these portals a lot more. Take this room, it's filled with a lot of portals, and this one on the walls especially spices things up. Now, their use is optional, but I think it's better when they actually add something to the fight rather than just kinda existing. Specifically here, it incentivizes you to think about what you're doing, and when the level is split by a gate closing, you actually have to use the portals. Either way, we're back in the fucking building again, and I guess that wasn't actually you. I bet we're gonna have to fight whatever was puppeting it. What the fuck is this? Oh shit! The Mirror Reaper! Genuinely, this thing is so interesting to me, because it doesn't really fight like any other Ultrakill enemy. It's fast as hell, drops goddamn stink bombs, and also has this really cool ability to disappear and be only visible in mirrors after it loses half its health. You're probably not gonna catch all that on your first fight with it, because you'll be shitting yourself, but that's just how it is with Ultrakill's enemies. Also, this thing is in Cyborg right now, and will probably appear again in Treachery, so have fun with that. This level is probably just as good as 8-1, however, it happens to be up against 7-2, which is the level I don't personally like. So wins. Nice. Welcome to 8-3 Disintegration Loop. I ran a poll a bit ago asking which level my viewers like the most. Now, it's limited data, only 500 responses, but still, the results showed an overwhelming margin for this one. And this isn't really surprising. I'm sure many are already aware of just how bonkers this level gets. In of itself, 8-3 is basically a mishmash of everything that came before it. Not just in Fraud, but every prior layer. And holy crap, it is everything you'd think it'd be. Absolute chaos. Floors moving, halls bending, a literal cluster of shit fuckery, and of course, the powers. Fraud's final new enemy, potentially the last new regular enemy. To massively simplify their Gabriel Light,
They have similar attack patterns and the same weaknesses.
as one can imagine, even if probably the most predictable enemy in Fraud, the fact that they are only slightly weaker versions of a boss makes them quite the pain up the colon. However, despite being angels, they can still die due to long fall. Welcome to 8-3 Disintegration Loop. That's right, baby, that shit was only the intro, now we're getting started. We need either a red or blue skull to advance further, and we have a split path to either of them. I like to call the red path the rotator. We have more stuff from the past and even Fraud itself that are constantly switching and rotating around. Good luck figuring out how to get around here, and especially good luck dealing with whatever the fuck this room is.
The demons, they're after me! Hey, they watch me!
The blue path is focused more around swapping. Portals are constantly moving around here, and because of that, the environment is constantly switching from one layer to another. This also means you basically have to fight two battles at once. I prefer this one over the red path. It's super cool in my opinion. Either way, whichever path you chose, you end up with a skull and finally get to the exit of the level.
The game isn't over!
Welcome to 8-3 Disintegration Loop. We're in fucking space now. The plot has been lost. This area is easily the reason why this level is so memorable. Now, it is extremely hard to navigate this section correctly, but to be fair, that's hardly unexpected. Basically, every single surface has a different gravity compared to the others, and it all finally ends on one of Violence's blood trees. A final hurrah to Ultrakill's level design. Holy shit, what a level. Well worth the wait. Comparing it to 7-3 is an interesting conundrum, as both are really good levels, but I think 8-3 edges it out slightly for me. And that leaves us with 8-4. Really though, we'll only be talking about Garyon. He was that dragon thing we saw back in 8-1. I have mixed feelings on this fight. funnily enough, not really because of the fight itself as much as the design for me. There's some neat details here, and I don't hate it or anything, but like, I'm just not a big fan of Ultrakill's demon designs, to be honest. And comparing it to the Earth Mover, or honestly most of the final bosses of layers in the game, it just doesn't really stand out to me. Before the hotfix, I thought the fight was also a little mid, but post-patch, I actually kinda like it. You're falling through this infinite tunnel and you have to dodge all of Gurion's attacks. It's kinda like a 3D Undertale fight, which might sound heretical to say, but it's the closest thing I can think of right now. I'm fine with how this works, though. The thing that stood out to me is, where are the portals? No, like, seriously, where are they? This is Fraud's signature mechanic, and they don't really get any uses in the layer's finale. It's a really weird choice, and feels a little like a wasted opportunity, I'm not gonna lie. When Gurion finally dies, the screen cuts to static, before we are transported into a theater, and the beast gets impaled on its own statue. It's a simple set, but it tells us that all of this, the entirety of Fraud, heck, maybe even the whole game up to this point, has all just been a show for hell. And all that remains now is to give this show a grand finale. An awesome reveal that I totally missed urgently because I have smooth brain. When comparing this layer to Violence, we got a draw on the first levels, 2 wins for Fraud on the second and third levels, and for the climax, I have to say Violence wins it. Now, to answer the title, yes, Fraud is good. Great, even. Better than Violence? Yeah, I'd say so by a little bit, which is a big compliment, by the way. Violence is one of my favorite layers. Overall, Fraud has some lows, but they're overshadowed by its insane highs like, space. I think it's a phenomenal layer and well worthy of being this game's penultimate challenge. You should go play it if you haven't already. And I'm just realizing I don't know how to end this review. Like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell if you enjoyed, and go lick up Mind Flayer's armpits. I don't know.